Previously, we learned from an apologist that the average height of a giant was supposedly 15 or 16 feet. This is supported by the Bible's own claims.
This chart shows us the great size of ancient giants. At the far left we see a normal man of 6 feet height, and at the far right a man of 36 feet in height. It also shows us how common the various giants were in their height. For example, it was most common for a giant to be approximately 15 to 16 feet tall.
For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Rabbath of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth of it, after the cubit of a man.
And yet, as we've seen, evidence of a race of ancient human giants is completely lacking in the historical record. It will come as no surprise that this is so for a very good reason. No such human could ever live at the heights suggested by the biblical record or by its apologists. Suppose you have a box, 1 centimeter on all its faces. This will make its surface area 1 square centimeter and its volume capacity 1 cubic centimeter. Now suppose you double that box so that now it is twice as long, twice as tall, and twice as deep. The box now covers not 2 times, but 4 times as much surface area as it did before, and it has not 2 times, not 4 times, but 8 times the volume. This is a simple matter of the physics of scaling. Increasing the length of an object in all directions does not have the same effect on the object's mass and weight. What is true for boxes is equally true for biological creatures. You cannot simply take an object, living or not, and scale it up or down without corresponding consequences. If a biological entity is enlarged, it must have adaptations to account for its increased size. One cannot simply grow a larger skeleton and expect it to function as it did on a smaller scale. And it is for this reason that human giants never did and never will exist. There is a physical limit to how large a human being can be, and it comes far short of the biblical ideal. It is hard to calculate an average height for humans in the ancient world, but from the best data currently available, modern humans in the Near East are on average just slightly over 5 feet in height. Modern humans weigh on average between 120 pounds for females on the low end and 183 pounds for males on the high end. So it wouldn't be a stretch to assume the average weight for humans in the ancient Near East, both male and female, was about 150 pounds. So for purposes of this study, let us estimate the average height of someone living in the ancient Near East was an even 5 feet, with an average weight of 150 pounds. If we take these figures and expand them to a human giant of 15 feet, as is asserted by our apologist and claims made in the biblical text, and account for the physics of scaling, what will we discover? At 15 feet, the biblical giant will be 3 times the height of the average human being in the ancient Near East. However, his surface area will now cover 9 times, not 3, of its previous space. In other words, structures like his bones and skin area will cover a total of 45 feet. And the skeletal structure would have to take on these dimensions in order to handle the creature's new weight. Bone strength is directly proportional to its thickness, for the giant's weight will not triple. It will not go from 150 pounds to 450. Our human giant's weight will increase 27 times that of his normal human counterpart. He will weigh in at a whopping 3,247 pounds. That is over 1.5 net tons. Gravity alone would be Goliath's conquering enemy. The giant would have the height and weight of a giraffe. and look nothing like the pictures found in children's Bibles. But problems for our biblical giants don't merely stop with appearance. In no sense could a creature be this large, retain human features and proportions, and live. A giraffe lives at these heights and at these weights due to a number of evolutionary adaptations. A giraffe's heart, for example, must generate an enormous amount of blood pressure, about double that for an average large mammal, to maintain blood flow to the brain. In the upper neck, a complex pressure regulation system prevents excess blood flow to the brain when the giraffe lowers its head to drink. This would be a problem also for biblical giants when they tried to rise out of bed, an adaptation humans do not have or need. Conversely, the blood vessels in the lower legs would be under great pressure because of the weight of fluid pressing down on them. Without a very tight sheath of thick skin over their lower limbs to maintain high extravascular pressure, such pressure would force the blood out through the capillary walls, killing the creature. This is an adaptation enjoyed by giraffes. Did biblical giants have tight, thick leg skin, or did they need to wear the equivalent of support hose to keep their capillaries from exploding in a bloody mess? The tallest human being on record was Robert Pershing Wadlow, who stood at 8'11". He weighed 485 pounds, far shy of the 15 or 16-foot Nephilim, who would have likely topped the scales at 3,000 pounds. A dwarf, compared to biblical giants, Wadlow nonetheless suffered from the effects of his unusual height. His skeletal structure had difficulty supporting him, and he was forced to wear braces on his legs in order to walk, and lost feeling in his legs and feet.
The effects on his health were catastrophic.
It's very clear that he was having great difficulty in walking. He had a foot brace on, and he was greatly incapacitated.
He was also losing sensation in his legs.
The neuropathy is disease of the nerves that carry the message of sensation up to the spine and up to the brain. So if you lose those nerves, you don't feel pain.
Robert had also developed a condition called foot drop and had to wear a metal brace, and it was this that led directly to his early death.
His foot brace that he had for foot drop wore against his ankle and produced an ulcer which he was unaware of. And this ulcer became infected, and he died of what was called in the old days blood poisoning.
The second tallest human on record was John Rogan, who measured in at 8'7". However, he only weighed 175 pounds at his death at age 47. At age 13, he needed crutches to get around, and within a year was no longer able to walk or stand. Living at great heights comes at a cost, and without the necessary biological adaptations, which would render one a separate species from Homo sapiens, human beings simply cannot attain the heights assigned to them in the Hebrew Scriptures. In the end, one can only resort to the supernatural to account for the giants of the Bible. But such works equally well to explain the historicity of Jack and the Beanstalk, Gulliver's Travels,
I wanted a bracelet, not a great big hairy beast.
What?
and the Cyclops of Homer's Odyssey. But what of those stunning photographs? In every case, the photos one sees of what is claimed to be archaeological discoveries of giant human remains are forgeries, mocked up in software programs like Photoshop. No authentic recovery of ancient giant skeletons have ever been reported from reputable scientific sources. Creationists and apologists, like those we've encountered in this series, instead, are quick to dismiss the overwhelming fossil record of human evolution as somehow unscientific or hoaxed. Rather ironic.